Piston fan. Their slogan was, "We come to work." That's what Detroit about. That's why they used it. It's a team thing. They won 2 championships, a team. There was no star. No mayor can come in here and be a star. It's a team thing. No governor should come in here and think you can do it by yourself. It's a team thing. You got communities. They got ideas, too. The only thing wrong with Detroit, people have lost hope here. Residents, city workers, so much corruption, they lose hope. But I grew up here. I love this city. I think it can come back. I've been working for the city 24 and a half years. Within the last 10 years, we've took 4 pay cuts, and then an additional 10% wage cut. I've lost a home.
When you take all of the decisions out of the city of Detroit, all of us, then what do you have? Exactly what we got, a lot of problems. Every time the city seems to fall into a problem, it's always on the backs of us workers.
You wake up out of a dead sleep and you jump behind the wheel and take off driving and try to get everybody there safe, not knowing really what you're pulling up to. I'm not eligible for Social Security, so the pension is my sole salary at this point.
We've been in business here 39 years. We've seen a lot of changes in Detroit. The area was a lot of industry, a lot of city workers. It's getting very tough for the city workers. It's getting tough for us as a business people.
Response times are increasing because of the closing of companies, which takes your insurance rate through the roof. So all the things that affect us affect the citizens.
I worked for the city in different capacities for 29 years. I feel like an old jacket. They use me up and they throw me away. In my condition, nobody's gonna hire me. I'm 68 years old. Half the times, I can't get my blood pressure medicine. It's either feeding myself blood pressure or paying bills.
$754. By the time they take all the deductions for I have my car insurance, my house insurance, and my health insurance taken out. So the time they take all that, I'll get about $300 after they take all that out. I don't understand it. I can't see how the governor's allowing this to happen and what they're doing and they want to blame it all on the seniors. Not only the seniors, but the city workers. And we worked hard. I know I worked hard.
I've been in Detroit since 1946. I was 14 years old when I came in. I don't live large at all. I wish I could. I don't know when the last time I've been shopping. I only get $1,100, and I'm 81 years old, and I need every penny that I can get and that I do get. And I'm very, very upset about the idea of them taking away my pensions that I worked 30 years for.
I think it's terrible that they talk about Detroit like they do, because Detroit has been very good to me.
I have a lot of city workers coming in with their uniforms on, Detroit Water Department, Police Department, Fire Department. I get a lot of people, the Border Patrol come in. So if I lose that customer base, I'm going to be in a position where I might have to close down. If they take away their pensions, if they start cutting jobs, it's going to cut into a large percentage of not only our business, but other businesses that are in the city of Detroit. We're here. We've been here for 26 years. We're still trying to do business in the city.
Detroiters are survivors. They tough. They adapt. But only can do so much when your politicians are ahead of you and we're not on the same team. We're not going to let Detroit be erased, bulldozed to where. We're going to fight to the bitter end. Detroit going to survive.
Two anti-government, self-described revolutionaries have shot up a pizza restaurant as well as a Walmart in Las Vegas.
The internationally syndicated political series, The David Pakman Show, provides progressive talk, analysis, and interviews with the nation's youngest radio and television host, David Pakman. Find out more and catch up on all the latest episodes by visiting our website at freespeech.org.
Hey, here we go on a Monday, April 13. Hello, and welcome to the Bill Press Show. Good to see you on Free Speech TV nationwide. Good to see you on Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker, TAWKR TV, worldwide on this Monday with lots to talk about. Hope you had a good weekend and are ready to go because we got to jump into it. Just like Hillary Clinton jumped into it yesterday. Yes, she is in. She's made it official with that big video that she tweeted out yesterday afternoon about 3 o'clock. That video which immediately went viral. The video showing a bunch of average Americans, including some African Americans, of course. A great diversity of people on the video, and then Hillary Clinton saying, everyday Americans need a champion. She wants to be that champion. She starts out by going to Iowa, driving, if you will, driving to Iowa. Marco Rubio joins the pack on the Republican side today, a little overshadowed, I think, by Hillary. And big news over the weekend, President Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro sat down for their very first one-on-one meeting to talk about normalizing relations between our two nations. It's the first meeting between any United States president and a Cuban leader for over 50 years and way overdue. And at the Masters, that phenomenon, 21-year-old Jordan Spieth setting an all-time record and just keeping his cool and beating out Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and Rory McIlroy and winning that green jacket. It was exciting to watch yesterday. All of that coming up. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Join the crowd on today's Bill Press Show, Monday, April 13.
This is the Bill Press Show.
I have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
my beauty,
my power,
my life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am tired.
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name
is
Red. The Grand River Red. the American Nile.
The canyon maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Surprise, surprise, Hillary Clinton is running for president. How about it? What a way to start the week. Hello, everybody. Here we are on a Monday, April 13. So good to see you today. And I sure hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. With some friends out in Paris. Went to Paris for the weekend. I love it. Paris, Virginia, that is. And a great favorite place of ours, the Ashby Inn out in Paris, Virginia. Wherever you went and however you managed it, I hope you had a good weekend with your friends, your family, or all by yourself. And were able to sit back, relax. A lot going on over the weekend. Big meeting down in Panama between the president and the President Obama and the president of Cuba. Very exciting golf at the Masters with Jordan Spieth, 21-year-old, walking away with the green jacket. And meanwhile, yes, Hillary Clinton putting out her video yesterday and Marco Rubio making it official today. So we've got a lot to cover on many, many, many different fronts. We'll jump right into it and look forward to hearing from you, whether you're listening on your local progressive talk station or watching on Free Speech TV or on Talker TV. It's good to have you with us, and we look forward to hearing from you at 866-55-PRESS. That's our toll-free number, 866-55-77-377. The team, three quarters here today. Peter Ogburn, not only just standing by, but also running the board today in the absence of Lisa Murphy. Hello, Peter.
I'm here. Yes, indeed.
Everything good?
I'm here, yes.
Wearing pride and joy today, I see.
Right. Yes, sir.
With Alicia Cruz here, as always, on the phone, and ready to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Cyprian Bowling stopped by, leaving things in charge of Monty Chancellor, our video for today. Keeping us looking good. Not making us look good. We look good by ourselves.
Yeah, come on. There's a little bit of credit here.
Keeping us looking good on Free Speech TV and Talker TV. So how about that? I mean, there's a sports page in the New York Times this morning. Yesterday, the Masters. Stars fade as one is born. Yeah,
man.
Indeed. This kid is incredible.
Yeah, he's
21 years old. Left the University of Texas, I guess, 2 years ago, right? Last year was sort of a workout year, building up to the Masters. And, he started out like a house of fire, 14 down, set all kinds of new records at the Masters. At one point was 19 below par, just phenomenal. And won that green jacket at the same age that Tiger Woods won his first green jacket at the age of 21. Isn't it amazing?
Here we go.
But beat Tiger's record. And, he held off yesterday. I mean, the other really great golfers who were on the course didn't fade away. Phil Mickelson and Mickelson, I guess, right? And Rory McIlroy right on his heels. They tied for second.
That's the great thing about the Masters, right? It's kind of like the home run derby of golf. Everybody has a chance to do extremely well on that course.
Yeah. So you had the old guy Phil Mickelson and the new kid, right, battling it out. And Tiger, I have to tell you, to his credit, Tiger hung in there. Not a great last round, but he finished.
He was competitive.
He was competitive and showed he's still got a lot going for him here. Jordan Spieth didn't have a lot to say about what it all meant to him. He hasn't quite figured it out yet.
I took my mind off of this moment for the last week to where I really couldn't express words to you that would make sense right now. It'd be something maybe to ask in a week or two.
Yeah. Give me a week.
Another way he's a lot like Tiger Woods, just like soft-spoken, doesn't say much.
Yeah. Give me a week to think about it. I might tell you what it means to be the all-time record golfer at the Masters. Yeah. So the big news, of course, Hillary Clinton again. That's where we start at the top of the hour here, and we've got lots of help. John Allen, who wrote the great book on Hillary Rodham Clinton, will be here in studio with us. Ray Locker, Washington Enterprise editor for USA Today, will be here, and Jess McIntosh, the communications director of Emily's List, all very, very experts on the Hillary Rodham Clinton campaign, which we'll get to. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Yes, indeed. Just a couple of other stories making news. It's back, Bill. It's back. Last night, Game of Thrones returned to HBO. So if you stayed up late and watched it, you got to see the opening season. But if you want the opening episode, but if you wanted to see more than that, there has been a leak. There's been a leak. Someone leaked out the first 5 episodes of the new season. HBO is freaking out. They're not sure who leaked it or how they were leaked. They promised that they would find out where the leak came from. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, right.
That's very, very interesting. You mentioned Hillary Clinton announcing that she's running for president. We'll talk about that more in just a few moments. But one thing that was a little embarrassing that she left in her press announcement yesterday. She put out the press announcement saying that she had, quote, fought children and families all her career, end quote.
Instead of fought for.
There you go. Missing one small but very important word in her press announcement.
I blame John Podesta.
Gotta blame John Podesta. Yes, exactly.
Poor guy. Embarrassing.
And last week
we fixed it fast.
I'm sure that they did. Yeah. And last week we told you about how Bob Schieffer announced that he is retiring from CBS's Face the Nation, and we found out yesterday who his replacement is going to be. CBS News political director John Dickerson will be the new host for Face the Nation. So we'll see how that goes.
Very good guy, very smart guy, good-looking guy. And,
all of the above.
Certainly knows politics, and he's been a big part of the Face the Nation show. So I think it's a good choice.
Yeah.
All right, yes, indeed. Let's talk Hillary. After all, we might as well, because there are only 576 days to go until Election Day.
Don't start the countdown clock now. We can't start it now.
576 days and 24 minutes and 13 seconds. Boom, 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 tick, 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 tick. Yes, and it happened yesterday in a very understated way. First was an email sent by campaign chairman John Podesta out to Hillary Clinton's staffers saying, you don't have to work for nothing anymore because, yes, I can tell you officially she is going to announce today. And then at 3:27 yesterday afternoon, the other shoe did drop, and the former Secretary of State released the video making it official, a video 2 minutes and 13 seconds long. Hope you have watched it. Take the time to watch it today. An unusual video. It starts out just by average Americans talking about themselves and what they're up to and what plans that they're making. About halfway through the video before Hillary Clinton herself appears on screen. I thought looking very, very good.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she looked great.
Good. Looking rested, looking thinner, looking younger, saying, well, you know what? Yeah, I've got some big plans too. Guess what?
I'm getting ready to do something too. I'm running for president.
How about that? Yeah, there it is. Here are some of the average American voices that start the video. families just doing stuff, and you'll hear one expecting a baby, another one getting ready to move, kids going back to school, just the everyday stuff we all deal with.
My daughter is about to start kindergarten next year, and so we're moving just so she can belong to a better school.
Mi hermano y yo estamos empezando un primer negocio.
After 5 years of raising my children, I am now going back to work.
Every day we're trying to get more ready and more prepared.
Baby boy, coming your way.
Baby boy, coming your way. I thought another striking thing in the video was you hear a voice saying, I'm getting married this summer to somebody that I really, really care about, something along those lines. And the camera pans up, and it's two young men walking together, holding hands. I think there's a lesbian couple in the mix too that don't necessarily speak or whatever. But the video reflects, I think, the great diversity of America. For the most part, younger people, but there's a sort of middle-aged woman or a little late middle ages saying she's getting ready to retire and changing her life. All kinds of things I thought we can all relate to. Again, we just heard where Hillary Clinton sums it up saying, I'm getting ready to do something too. I'm going to run for president. And now she says, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come out and look for you and ask for your vote.
I'm hitting the road to earn your vote because it's your time. And I hope you'll join me on this journey.
Yep, hitting the road to ask for your vote. And this I thought was very, very significant, where she hints at a campaign theme here that says here's why she wants to fight for American families.
Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top. Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. So you can do more than just get by. You can get ahead and stay ahead, because when families are strong, America is strong.
Yeah, boy, that's a great sentence, I think. Sums it up. And she doesn't use the phrase income inequality. She doesn't use the phrase middle-class economics. I thought very effectively just says the deck is stacked against those. Deck is stacked in favor, rather, of those at the very top. Everybody can understand that. She wants to be there to fight for families. When families are strong, all Americans are strong. And everyday Americans need a champion. She wants to be that champion. That's a very, very powerful message, I think. Overall, what'd you think of the video? 866-55-PRESS. What do you think of the Hillary Clinton campaign? I got to tell you, I was really encouraged yesterday, and I think all Democrats and all progressives could be. I thought she looked very good. I thought the video hit the absolute right themes. It was extremely well produced. This stressing from the very beginning, this meme or theme of income inequality, I think, is so important. Stressing the fact that she wants to fight for families, for all American families, I thought was very, very important. And basically, she wants to be that champion. And now I like what she's doing next. She is, the contrast with Ted Cruz at Liberty University and Rand Paul at the Hotel Ballroom in Lexington and Marco Rubio at some great big event today. No, she didn't do it with any. There was no big speech, no big crowd, no nothing at all. And she's continuing that way for at least the next month. She's going out to Iowa and to New Hampshire. No big speeches, no hotel ballrooms. She's just going to be meeting in people's living rooms and backyards and the barber shop and the coffee shop on the corner. Again, in Iowa and New Hampshire, maybe a couple of other states. And I have to confirm this, but I saw a story today that she's actually driving to Iowa. Whoa. I'm sure there'll be a caravan of reporters in back of her, but I think she wants to really put across, and she is, that she's not the anointed one coming down on high as a former Secretary of State and U.S. Senator and saying, you owe me, right? She's coming out saying, here's what I'd like to do with your help, and I need your help, which I think is the first. So I'd say my own take is Hillary is off to a great start in the right way with the right message. 866-55-PRESS. How about you? We've been waiting for this a long time. Now that it's here, let's talk about it.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand and they don't get it and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all of the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university?
Yeah, people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies. In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go now, 24 minutes after the hour. Yes, indeed. It is official. Headline in the New York Times this morning, Clinton ends speculation entering the 2016 contest. Indeed, she did. in perhaps the most understated way possible. By the way, that video, which came out again at 3:27 yesterday afternoon, it was averaging 1,000 retweets per minute there for the first few hours. I saw on the news last night, it was something like 40 million. Obviously, it went viral,
Sure.
as you knew it would, and as they were hoping it would. But maybe set up there near the record for retweets in terms of a video. And I thought it's 2 minutes, 13 seconds long. Very powerful. Gets the message out there in a way I think everybody can identify with and understand, and makes it clear from the beginning, I think, what the theme of her campaign is going to be, which in effect is kind of a repeat of President Obama's campaign of 2012, where he went out and said, hey, the choice is pretty clear. Running for re-election, the choice is clear. I'm the one who's going to fight for the middle class, fight for average Americans, and the Republicans are those who are going to fight still for the people at the very, very top, the Wall Street executives and the 1%. I'm for the 99%. I think Hillary saw that worked. Pardon me, that worked in 2012. It'll work again in 2016. Your take on it, John, out in Ferndale, Washington, up early this morning. Hello, John.
Good morning, Bill.
Yes.
I'm excited. She's finally an adult, has entered the race. You have Rand Paul and you have the other guy, Cruz, and it's like screechy and preachy. And the only thing that they have on Hillary is this trumped up Benghazi thing. And I had a top secret clearance when I was in the military, and everyone knows who's dug a little bit into this. This was a CIA station house. It's going to be forever cloaked in. It's going to be forever classified, and there's no way that the Republicans are going to dig into that. They know it too, and once the American people realize, we don't reveal sources and methods.
Yeah.
And Benghazi was it was a CIA that they were doing something there, and
Let me just say, John, they have beat all the blood they can out of that turnip. I mean, let them make Benghazi their big argument against Hillary. We know that's not going to work. Good to hear from you, John. In Salem, New Jersey. Hey, Bob. Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to say that the general public has to be a bunch of total idiots if they fall for this ploy that Hillary's just one of the gang.
You don't buy it.
Blind? What, are people blind? Who the hell would buy it? It's just ridiculous.
Well, obviously she's not one of the gang. She's a former First Lady, former United States Senator. But the question is, do you think they'll see that she's one who will fight for them as president?
Right. Yeah, okay. You got to be retarded to believe that.
No. Well, Bob, I don't think so. I believe it, and I'm not retarded. So there. Appreciate the call. I have to tell you, Salem, New Jersey, right across the river from Delaware City, Delaware, where I grew up. And, in fact, my grandfather's family all came from, my grandfather Press's family all came from Salem, New Jersey. That was after they came here from Riga in Latvia. Good to hear from you. We're talking Hillary. When we come back, more calls coming up.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
You know, sometimes when I'm walking down the street, I'm not necessarily looking out and seeing all these water-wasting lawns and people that aren't as connected to their neighbors and their lives as they could be. I'm walking down the street looking, going, edible oases, rainwater, fed landscape, and just looking at the possibility of these sort of landscapes up and down the streets of neighborhoods and communities all across this world.
All right, here we go. Now it is 34 minutes after the hour. How about it? This is Monday, April 13. This is the first day of the Hillary Rodham Clinton campaign. We knew it was going to happen. She made it official yesterday. It is the biggest news of the day, overshadowing the announcement by Marco Rubio that he's running, which will come later today. Interesting. Mention how many retweets the video had just before the break. And at the same time, while people were excited to see Hillary jump in, it really will be a historic race. Could very well, excellent chance of becoming the first woman president of the United States. 72% of the American people still think she should have some primary challenge. And you know, I'm of that school as well. That's not an anti-Hillary statement at all. It's just one way to make sure that she's the best possible candidate she can be in 2016 up against a Republican opponent, whoever it happens to be, is to give her a good, challenging, healthy, hard-fought primary like she had in 2008. I think she would do a lot better this year. certainly, I got to say, and looking forward to hearing from you. 866-55-PRESS. Let's talk about it. This is for real now. 866-55-77-377. You've seen the video. You heard the message. She wants to be out there, fight for average Americans, fight for American families, fight for those who have not maybe seen their boat rise with this rising economic tide because, as she says, mixing metaphors here, the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the very top, which it is, and they seem to be the only ones, that 1% that Republicans all care about. Hillary says, I want to fight for everybody else, that you can not just, keep up, but that you can actually get ahead in this economy. Nobody has more. You gotta face it. If you look across the field among Democrats or Republicans, the one thing that she's got going for her, again, I want to hear from you about Hillary Clinton, 866-55-PRESS, that there's nobody that has more experience or is more ready to serve as president, more expertise than and more skills, I think, and leadership skills than Hillary Clinton. Former First Lady of Arkansas, former First Lady of the United States, former United States Senator from New York State, former Secretary of State, and generally considered, other than the Clinton haters, to have done an outstanding job in every one of those positions. So it's sort of like her life has kind of steered her toward, there's only one thing left, become an outstanding president of the United States. 866-55-PRESS. Here is John from out in Orange County, California. Hey, John.
Hi there, Bill. It's
Hi.
a great show. I'm sure excited about Hillary running, and I thought she did a great video. But, the Republicans for decades have sort of had control over the media. They've had the access to the pathway of information that has made so many Americans so frustrated. They had television and they had radio that was already in place, that was in everybody's living room, and they capitalized on that. They put a lot of money on that. And this year, or this coming election, I would love to see Hillary take a little different approach instead of trying to outspend everybody with bumper stickers and lawn signs and negative TV ads. I would love to see her go to the medium that is already in place, that is the modern medium, and it's in everyone's hand. It's in the workers' hands. It's in students' hands, which is the smartphone. The smartphone and the internet are the future, and that's the pathway that people can get the information, truth, and like, for instance, I'm listening on TuneIn Radio right now, and most people do not know about TuneIn Radio, and it's so powerful and so immediately available.
TuneIn Radio, absolute great app, and you've heard me talk about it. It's free. People ought to download it, and that's the one way to keep up with progressive radio. And also iHeart Radio, which links people to our affiliates. But John, I just want to pick up on your point. I think the fact that Hillary announced the way she did yesterday is a good indication that you're going to see this campaign rely very, very heavily on the social media. In fact, I was reading this morning on Politico an article about who the insiders were in the Clinton campaign, and the campaign chair and those who are going to do the TV ads and boom, 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 and right up there were the people who were her digital leaders. So she's got a whole team already in place to maximize the social media and to use the smartphones. You are absolutely right, and I think you're going to see her. I know you're going to see her do that. In fact, the truth of it is, you can't run an effective campaign today without the social media. So I think you'll be pleased with the extent to which the Clinton campaign is using the new technology. Dorothy, out in, let's see, is that or down in? Yep, DeRidder, Louisiana. Hey, Dorothy.
Hello, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing good. What do you think about this Hillary campaign?
Oh, I am so excited, man. I don't know what to do. I am ready to get out there and do what I can to help her. And it's one thing I want to say about this, Bill. All these other states she's talking about, she's speaking about being broke when she left. I kind of believe she was halfway broke. Ken Starr did them a job, man. So they had to get out there and make some more money. What's wrong with them getting out there making money? There's nothing wrong with that. And I know she's going to fight for us, and I'm ready to help her.
Well, good for you. Yeah. Listen, I got to tell you, Dorothy, you're probably feeling kind of lonely down there in Louisiana, feeling that way, no?
Oh, man, I imagine so, because you know what this is down here. This is that red state, but that's all right. I'm blue.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm sure Hillary's going to be out after everybody's vote, Dorothy, and pretty soon, I'd say hook up with the campaign.
She got mine and my whole family.
All right. You got it. Hey, Dorothy, so good to hear from you. Yeah, that's what people can do and we'll find out more from Jess McIntosh from Emily's List a little bit later. John, people around the country who want to join in to this Hillary effort. I'm sure there's a way to. It must be in the video, Peter. I
know if you check out her Twitter feed, there's a link already up that's tells you where to go. You can contribute as little as $5. You can sign up. You can do all kinds of things. I don't have the link right off the top of my head, but it goes. If you check out her Twitter feed, it's right there, talking again about the impact of social media and how important it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the way to sign up. So, all right, good to hear from all of you. Again, we're going to be talking about Hillary throughout the day and throughout the morning here at 866-55-PRESS. When we come back, Scott Bland joins us. He is the editor-in-chief at the National Journal Hotline to take a look at the whole political landscape today. So stay tuned here on this Monday, April 13 edition of the Bill Press Show.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TalkerTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Sometimes when I'm walking down the street, I'm not necessarily looking out and seeing all these water-wasting lawns and people that aren't as connected to their neighbors and their lives as they could be. I'm walking down the street looking, going, edible oases, rainwater, fed landscape, and just looking at the possibility of these sort of landscapes up and down the streets of neighborhoods and communities all across this world. Small actions do ripple and they add up and they have a cumulative impact. And so when you're building upon your small mindful actions, you have the confidence and the ability to take on something a little bit greater. So that could be nice. This, in the context of where we're at as a planet with climate change and these really big issues and people that are more disconnected and less skilled than ever, it becomes even more amazing and powerful how much of a solution this is to design these ecological gardens and to come together with shared vision and shared voice. There's never been a time where your choices have mattered more. Doing something as simple as us transforming a landscape creates a model that anybody could look at far and wide, and you're sharing food and connecting and building skills together in your own neighborhood. It's a richer way to live in normal times, but in the new normal of climate change and erratic weather and economic upheaval, it becomes essential. Whether it's me, you, Gandhi, Che, MLK, Willy Wonka, whoever, past, present, or future, the power of our daily actions is all that we have. And like Archimedes said, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough and I'll move the world. And that's what those simple actions do. They move the world every day.
is the Bill Press Show.
All right, here we go now, 14 minutes before the top of the hour on this Monday, April 13. The presidential field getting more crowded by the day, and even those who haven't announced yet are kind of making their own little rounds. The National Rifle Association, the NRA, had its convention over the weekend, and most of the Republican presidential hopefuls showed up, led by Governor Rick Perry, former now Governor Rick Perry of Texas.
It might surprise a few of you, but I've been thinking about 2016 a little. And if I run, I'm going to put my record up against any competitor out there.
Jeb Bush was also there, and a few other presidential hopefuls. And today, Marco Rubio jumps in with both feet following Hillary Clinton. Yesterday, Scott Bland keeps on track of all of this for the National Journal Hotline, editor-in-chief, and joins us on our newsline this morning. Hey, Scott's getting crowded out there.
Yes, it is. Thanks for having me this morning.
You're right. And more to go, right? So tell us about Marco Rubio today. Is Florida really big enough for two contenders to the Republican nomination?
Well, his team certainly thinks so. And I think the theory of the case, which National Journal kind of outlined over the weekend, is that, Rubio can kind of lean on the fact that he's probably the most talented speaker in the Republican field, and kind of used that to generate momentum, basically, while hoping that Jeb Bush proves a little too unorthodox for the kind of Republican field, to hold on to that front runner status in the Republican field, and that Scott Walker fades as more attention gets paid to him, and then that's kind of the recipe that
they see
that the Rubio team is looking at right now.
Right now, will he have the money to be competitive?
So that's one of the big questions. There's been questions ever since Bush got in about whether or not kind of Rubio would have that fundraising base. The outside group part of it is certainly going to be taken care of. There's a car dealer named Norman Brahman who actually used to own the Philadelphia Eagle, who has reportedly pledged $8 $10 million to a Marco Rubio super PAC. In addition to that, I reported on Friday that in addition to the super PAC, there's been a secret nonprofit tied to the super PAC that's been active for over a year already, that's been conducting extensive research on voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, Florida, Nevada, and South Carolina, all the potentially the 5 most important primary states.
Yeah.
And this is a group that's been doing research, no donor disclosure, and they're obviously they've been doing some very expensive projects over the last year. So it seems plausible that there's going to be enough money there.
Yeah. Now, the relationship between Rubio and Jeb Bush is interesting. For Jeb was kind of the mentor of Marco Rubio, wasn't he, when he was governor?
It's interesting. Like it gets described in different ways depending on the time. I think before it became clear that they were going to be butting up against each other, the word mentor was kind of bandied about a little bit more. And there have been stories about Rubio kind of thinking to himself or using the moniker, what would Jeb do, to kind of guide himself, especially in his early days in the Senate.
WWJD, right?
Still works.
Yeah, still works.
Exactly. Exactly. But the other, they never technically worked in concert on anything. Rubio was in the legislature, Bush was in the executive mansion, and I don't know enough about the particulars to decide who's trying to distance from who and how much, but obviously that relationship is getting described slightly differently now.
Where is he announcing today? This is another great big fanfare rally kind of event, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, he's announcing at the Freedom Tower in Miami, which is kind of the Ellis Island of Cuban immigrants, and so a very symbolic location in his hometown of Miami.
Yeah. Now it's interesting the contrast between the way this will be the third Republican. Right? I didn't lose track, did I? No.
That's right. The third senator.
The third one. The way they announced versus the way Hillary Clinton announced yesterday, relatively low key with a YouTube video, got huge coverage, but no big crowd, no big speech, no brass band or whatever. Of course, she's so well known, she doesn't have to do it that way, perhaps.
Sure. No, I think that's probably right. And the Facebook just released data this morning. Nearly 5 million people talked about Hillary Clinton's announcement on Facebook yesterday. So obviously the news is getting out there.
Yeah.
Actually we've seen a lot of Democratic Senate candidates go with the all digital rollout this year too. Donna Edwards comes to mind. Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. And I wonder whether that's just more of an emerging trend on the Democratic side or not. I actually don't know the answer to that question. But I think in Clinton's case, it definitely seems like it had a lot to do with this kind of trying to correct mistakes of the past ethos that people have been talking about with her campaign. Her announcement video was almost barely about her. Right. It was about everyday Americans, which is a buzzword we're going to be, or a phrase, I suppose, that we're going to be hearing a lot of from her campaign. And now she's driving, not flying, driving to Iowa, making some pit stops along the way to chat with people before doing some small meetings in the first caucus state. And so it seems very much geared toward avoiding, that inevitability moniker, a huge rally, that sort of thing.
I must say, I love the fact that she started. I mean, I think it's very smart to start out with a listening tour. Obviously, she's got to go to Iowa. I like this fact that she's trying to show, maybe she's more like an everyday American. But whoever convinced her to drive to Iowa, man, I don't know. I think that's too great a price to pay. Mm-hmm. That's a long way, man. All right, to be in the car. Hey, Scott, good to see. But by the way, folks, you can follow Scott's good work and reporting in the stories he talked about in National Journal over the weekend at nationaljournal.com. Thanks, Scott. Always good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
This is the Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
Two anti-government, self-described revolutionaries have shot up a pizza restaurant as well as a Walmart in Las Vegas.
The internationally syndicated political series, The David Pakman Show, provides progressive talk, analysis, and interviews with the nation's youngest radio and television host, David Pakman. Find out more and catch up on all the latest episodes by visiting our website at freespeech.org.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
This is the Bill Press Show.
In the next hour, John Allen, he and Amy Barnes wrote the great book, HRC. They were way ahead of the time looking at Hillary Clinton. John Allen will join us in studio in the next hour. A little bit later, Jess McIntosh, communications director for Emily's List, very, very strongly in support of the Hillary campaign, and have been encouraging her to run. Quick story out of Cleveland. Don't know whether you saw this. A little 2-year-old boy dropped. He didn't fall into the cheetah pit. He was dropped in. Here's the spokesperson for the Cleveland Zoo.
Unfortunately, we have a number of eyewitnesses accounts that point to the strong likelihood that the child was dangled over the railing.
Can you believe it? The mother and
Don't
father
do that to your children.
This little 2-year-old kid over the cheetah pit, and they dropped the kid. He fell in. Then the father jumped in and got the kid, and somebody pulled the father and the kid out. So thank God everything was okay. But the zoo is planning on filing charges against this boy's parents, and they should. Totally irresponsible.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go on a Monday, April 13. Hello, and welcome to the Bill Press Show. Good to see you on Free Speech TV nationwide. Good to see you on Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker, TAWKR TV, worldwide on this Monday with lots to talk about. Hope you had a good weekend and are ready to go because we got to jump into it. Just like Hillary Clinton jumped into it yesterday. Yes, she is in. She's made it official with that big video that she tweeted out yesterday afternoon about 3 o'clock. That video, which immediately went viral. The video showing a bunch of average Americans, including some African Americans, of course. A great diversity of people on the video, and then Hillary Clinton saying, everyday Americans need a champion. She wants to be that champion. She starts out by going to Iowa, driving, if you will, driving to Iowa. Marco Rubio joins the pack on the Republican side today, a little overshadowed, I think, by Hillary. And big news over the weekend, President Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro sat down for their very first one-on-one meeting to talk about normalizing relations between our two nations. It's the first meeting between any United States president and a Cuban leader for over 50 years and way overdue. And at the Masters, that phenomenon, 21-year-old Jordan Spieth setting an all-time record and just keeping his cool and beating out Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and Rory McIlroy and winning that green jacket. It was exciting to watch yesterday. All of that coming up. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Join the crowd on today's Bill Press Show, Monday, April 13.
This is the Bill Press Show.
One of the most exciting scientific findings of the past half-century has been the discovery of widespread trophic cascades. A trophic cascade is an ecological process which starts at the top of the food chain and tumbles all the way down to the bottom. And the classic example is what happened in the Yellowstone National Park in the United States when wolves were reintroduced in 1995. Now, we all know that wolves kill various species of animals, but perhaps we're slightly less aware that they give life to many others. Before the wolves turned up, they'd been absent for 70 years. That the numbers of deer, because there was nothing to hunt them, had built up in the Yellowstone Park, and despite efforts by humans to control them, they'd managed to reduce much of the vegetation there to almost nothing. They'd just grazed it away. But as soon as the wolves arrived, even though they were few in number, they started to have the most remarkable effects. First, of course, they killed some of the deer, but that wasn't the major thing. Much more significantly, they radically changed the behavior of the deer. The deer started avoiding certain parts of the park, the places where they could be trapped most easily, particularly the valleys and the gorges. And immediately those places started to regenerate. In some areas, the height of the trees quintupled in just 6 years. Bare valley sides quickly became forests of aspen and willow and cottonwood. And as soon as that happened, the birds started moving in. The number of songbirds and migratory birds started to increase greatly. The number of beavers started to increase because beavers like to eat the trees. And beavers, like wolves, are ecosystem engineers. They create niches for other species. And the dams they built in the rivers provided habitats for otters and muskrats and ducks and fish and reptiles and amphibians. The wolves killed coyotes, and as a result of that, the number of rabbits and mice began to rise, which meant more hawks, more weasels, more foxes, more badgers. Ravens and bald eagles came down to feed on the carrion that the wolves had left. Bears fed on it too, and their population began to rise as well, partly also because there were more berries growing on the regenerating shrubs. And the bears reinforced the impact of the wolves by killing some of the calves of the deer. But here's where it gets really interesting. The wolves changed the behavior of the rivers. They began to meander less. There was less erosion. The channels narrowed, more pools formed, more riffle sections, all of which were great for wildlife habitats. The rivers changed in response to the wolves. And the reason was that the regenerating forests stabilized the banks so that they collapsed less often, so that the rivers became more fixed in their course. Similarly, by driving the deer out of some places and the vegetation recovering on the valley sides, there was less soil erosion because the vegetation stabilized that as well. So the wolves, small in number, transformed not just the ecosystem of the Yellowstone National Park, this huge area of land, but also its physical geography.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Your TV and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Have you heard? Hillary Clinton running for president. Yes. Hello, everybody. What do you say? It is Monday, April 13th. So good to see you today. Hope you had a great weekend and are ready to tackle the big stories of the day. Lots going on. President Obama. Historic meeting with President Raul Castro of Cuba over the weekend. Historic new champion, new star of the golf world, starting at the Masters with Jordan Spieth, 21-year-old, walking away with a green jacket yesterday. And, of course, historic announcement by Hillary Clinton on her little video yesterday that she is indeed taking another run at President of the United States, leading the field among Democrats and beating any Republicans she is up against in the polls so far. So, yes, Bernie Sanders has his first serious opponent for the Democratic nomination for president in 2016, a lady by the name of Hillary Rodham Clinton. Good to see you today. Thanks so much for joining us on your local Progressive Talk radio station nationwide. They're with you, indeed. Good to be with you also on Free Speech TV all across this great country of ours. And we appreciate those of you tuning in around the world on our video stream at youtube.com/TawkerTV, TAWKR-TV. We look forward to hearing from you at 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. You want to use that right here at the top of the hour to talk about Hillary Clinton, the Hillary Clinton campaign, 866-55-PRESS. Give us or send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show or on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. Alisa Murphy off for a couple of days. Peter Ogburn.
Here I am.
Running the board and
yes,
keeping
indeed.
things going just in general. Hello, hello.
Happy Monday, sir.
Back from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
Down.
Wait, that's quite a town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's Bill Clinton country. That's Clinton country.
Clinton country, indeed. Right. Alicia Cruz is here. She's ready to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Keep those phones ringing here for Hillary Clinton, 866-55-77377. And Cyprian Bolding stopped in this morning, but Monty Kanzler is the one who's in charge today on the videography front on Free Speech TV and for Talker TV. I mentioned President Obama meeting with President Castro over the weekend at the Summit of the Americas. The president, this is the first time in over 50 years that any American president has met with a leader of Cuba, the president noting the importance of this occasion. There we go.
This is obviously a historic meeting. The history between the United States and Cuba is obviously complicated.
And the president pointing out that, as he said, it is complicated, and there's lots of past history to be concerned about, but we can't get mired down in that murky past.
The point is the United States will not be imprisoned by the past. We're looking to the future.
Looking toward the future. And again, pretty soon the first signs of that normalization of relations will come with the opening of an American embassy in Havana officially and a Cuban embassy officially here in Washington, D.C. And then, hopefully very soon, lifting Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism. So that, with that said, we'll move on to the really big news of the day, Hillary Rodham Clinton. John Allen, who wrote the book on HRC last year with Amy Parnes, will be New York Times bestseller, will be here in studio with us shortly. We'll also, and in the next hour, Ray Locker from USA Today will be here for the entire hour, and then Jess as a friend of Bill, Jess McIntosh, who is the communications director for the great Emily's List, will be joining us as well. Emily's List, one of the chief sponsors and promoters and supporters of the Hillary Rodham Clinton campaign. Your take on Hillary at 866-55-PRESS. You've seen the video. Let's talk about it. But first,
This is the Full Court Press.
Yes, indeed. Just a couple of other stories making news. Say the name Jordan Spieth. You will be saying it a lot more in the next couple of years. He is your Masters champion down in Augusta, Georgia. Bill, you know, it's a tradition unlike any other down there at the Masters in Augusta. And he set a record. He finished 18 under 270 for the entire tournament, which is a Masters record. He finished first. He beat out Phil Mickelson and Justin Rose, pretty good competitors there to beat out.
Right. I forgot to mention Justin Rose earlier.
Yeah, he won the U.S. Open in 2013, so it's no slouch.
It was Justin Rose, not McIlroy, that tied.
Not McIlroy.
Yeah.
McIlroy wasn't far back, but it was Justin Rose and
Mickelson who were tied for second.
Exactly. Yeah. So there you go. Congratulations, Jordan Spieth.
But watching that Jordan Spieth yesterday, it's cool as a cucumber.
Really
walking up that famous walk where they walk up the fairway to the 18th green, and that's where he put it away with a par, I think. But he had, I forget, like 38 birdies, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right. But the other interesting thing about this is the first. He's the first wire-to-wire leader, meaning leading in the first day and then winning and staying on top the whole time since 1976, I believe it was. So it's been a while since we've had somebody just dominate it in that way.
Phenomenon.
Yeah, totally. Secret Service had a bit of a scare over the weekend. They jumped into action, had guns drawn because there was a security breach. Turns out it was a 4-year-old child who had gotten over the little bike rack barrier that they have in front of the fence. You know how they have the new barriers there to keep them from...
I see them every day.
You see them all the time, yeah. According to the pool report, quote, 4-year-old child climbed under temporary bike rack along Pennsylvania Avenue. Child was fine and was safely reunited with parents. So, it's just a little bit of a scare. They were ready to handle it, but it was just a little kid. So. And Bill, have you gotten a wedding invitation anytime recently?
No, actually, I've been invited to a wedding for a long time.
All right, well, here's the thing. If you do get one, you should think twice before you say yes. A new study took a look at how much people spend to go visit a wedding or attend a wedding. This is put together by American Express Spending and Saving Tracker. The average wedding guest will spend $673 to go to a wedding. Now, this will travel, hotel,
meals, and
gifts, and meals, all that stuff. So if you're going to go, on average, per person, $673. That's quite a commitment.
So then I think if I were getting married, I'd say, don't come, just send me a check for $673.
There you go. Yeah. Or make it $500, save a little bit of money.
We'll save you money. Save money. Stay home and send me $500.
Or just go to the weddings of the couples that you know are going to make it. You know what I mean?
How do you determine that ahead of time? Yeah, right. Okay, indeed. She is in. Let's talk about it. Let's get your take on it. We've been waiting for this moment a long, long time. Been talking about it. We knew it was more than a possibility. It was a reality. We just had to wait for the reality to come about. Well, it's here. Yesterday, two things. In the morning, the chair of the Hillary Clinton campaign, John Podesta, founder, a good friend of ours and founder of the Center for American Progress, sent out an email to all the Hillary volunteers saying you don't have to work for nothing no more because we're going to start paying you because the campaign is going to start today. She is actually going to run today, and we will have an official campaign before the end of the day. And at 3:27, weird time, yesterday afternoon, Hillary did, in fact, release the video. It's a video 2 minutes and 13 seconds long, a video where she doesn't even pop up in the video till about halfway through. It starts out, I hope you've seen it. It's worth watching. It really is. I think it's an excellent, excellent piece of work. A very, very good and very powerful, very strong beginning to this campaign. And starts out with voices of average Americans just talking about what's going on in their lives and what they are getting ready for.
My daughter is about to start kindergarten next year, and so we're moving just so she can belong to a better school.
Mi hermano y yo estamos empezando un primer negocio.
After 5 years of raising my children, I am now going back to work.
Every day we're trying to get more ready and more prepared.
Big boy, coming your way.
Yeah, and there were some other voices that we don't hear there. There was a woman saying, maybe late middle age, I'm getting ready to retire. I'm working on all of that and getting ready for that. There is two young men, same-sex couple, where one of them says, I'm going to get married this summer to somebody that I really, really care about. And they're walking along holding hands. It's I think, a great reflection of the diversity of this country. Mainly young people of all races and ages, actually, on the video. And they're all saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Hillary Clinton sums it up, say, hey, I got some plans, too.
I'm getting ready to do something, too. I'm running for president.
Yeah, how about that? There it is. That's the official. I'm running for president, president of the United States. And she says, so now what I'm going to do is watch out. Here I come. I'm not saying you owe me. After all that I've done, you owe me the chance to be president of the United States. She is coming out saying, let's talk about what's important to you, and I'm going to be asking for your vote.
I'm hitting the road to earn your vote because it's your time, and I hope you'll join me on this journey.
It is your time. I'm coming out on your turf, First Lady announcing that she's going out to Iowa, and she's spending the next month not giving any great speeches, no big hotel ballrooms, no great big rallies, no appearances on all the TV shows and all that. She's just going to be doing small-scale meetings, coffee klatches, going to people's living rooms, barbershops, coffee shops in Iowa and New Hampshire. And actually, I think is the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate show that she's trying to get right down to average Americans is she is driving to Iowa. Do you think she's going in an RV or
the old family truckster, loaded up and hit the road?
Bill had a pickup truck at one time.
Yeah, that's right. He sure did. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
And is she going to be driving or driven?
I think she's going to be driven, right?
Don't know.
We don't know. You're right. We don't know.
I'll bet it's been a long time since she.
That's what I'm thinking.
Since she drove.
When was the last time she drove?
Yeah, I don't know. Right. And most importantly, I think in this video, she talks about this. I think sums up the theme of her campaign, and it's a good one. And she's picking up a theme that President Obama's talked about. He calls it middle class economics. She's picking up a theme that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have been stressing, that this has to be the main theme of any Democrat in 2016, and that is to fight for the people who have not benefited so well from this rising economic tide, which seems to benefit mainly those people at the very, very top, and to fight for average Americans, average families whose wages have not gone up. Here's how Hillary Clinton puts it.
Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top. Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. So you can do more than just get by. You can get ahead and stay ahead, because when families are strong, America is strong.
Good stuff. You can do more than get by. You can get ahead. I want to fight for families. Americans need a champion. I want to be that champion. When families are strong, America is strong. That I think is a winning message, winning theme, and she's off to a great start. So what do you think? Waited for this a long time. Here it is, 866-55-PRESS, 866-55-77-377. So many angles to this. I mean, what do you think Hillary's got to do to win? Is she doing the right thing? Is she off to a good start? What did you think of the video? What do you think of her message? And are you with her or not? 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand and they don't get it and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
Absolutely, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university? And,
people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies. In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
25 minutes after the hour, Monday, April 13, New York Times best-selling author on the book about Hillary Clinton released last year, HRC. John Allen joins us at the half hour to jumps into our conversation. Yes, Hillary Clinton making it official yesterday, and for the next month, she's going to be doing these small-scale meetings in Iowa and New Hampshire, kind of a repeat of the listening tour she did when she announced for United States Senate in New York. Just go out and talk to average people and find out what's on their mind, what their needs are, what they want her to be talking about. I think it's a great way to start. 866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. Let's hear from you. Ready to jump on board the Hillary Express. Nancy calling from Block Island. Block Island. Wait. Peter, you say Illinois. No? I know Block Island's in Rhode Island. Nancy, where are you?
Rock Island, Illinois.
Oh, Rock Island, Illinois. Okay.
Right on the Mississippi, right where the Mississippi goes east to west, not north to south.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good to hear from you. And what do you think?
Well, I'm hoping that with Hillary's message in her video, that she's very mindful of the progressive voices in this country, like Bernie Sanders, because he's been labeled as a corporate Democrat. And I just want to make sure that she is mindful of these voters.
I think it's an excellent point. You know, she has been labeled as a corporate Democrat, and let's face it, she's from New York, right? And she's very close to Wall Street, to people there in Wall Street. She's gotten a lot of money from them. That's why I was encouraged by the video, Nancy, because she talks about the deck being stacked in favor of the people at the very top, which it is, and that she wants to fight for all the rest of us. So
that's correct. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Nancy. Yeah. I think, look, Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren would have said it maybe certainly more strongly, and would have been further to the left than Hillary. But she's on the right track. Absolutely. Talking about the right message, fighting for the right people, and I think off to the right start with her campaign. I think this low-key approach is the way to go. She doesn't want to appear as the anointed one, which that was a tendency certainly in 2008. This is a much different approach. And I think, again, off to a damn good start. We'll talk more about with John Allen, 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. When I say dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go at 33 minutes after the hour. On Monday, April 13, it is the Bill Press Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As we tackle the Hillary Clinton campaign, announced yesterday, 866-55-PRESS. It is now official in a very low-key way. And we'll be talking a lot more about it. We are brought to you today by, coming to you live from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and brought to you today by the International Association of a group of workers that all got together, the Sheet Metal Workers Union, the Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers Union, all together now as the SMART Union, good men and women of the SMART Union under President Joseph Nigro, giving a fair day's work for a fair day's pay, you bet, and you can find out more about their good work at their website, smart-union.org. We thank them for their support. Salute them. Talking about Hillary Clinton, jumping in, let's talk to Patrick out in Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, Patrick, what do you say? Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Bill. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you. What do you think?
I think that she's going to have a real challenge in throwing off her campaign being labeled as inevitable this time around, similar to how her campaign was labeled that way in 2008, because the media have been pushing ever since, even last year or the year before, about her inevitable campaign as a 2012 presidential candidate, or 2016.
Yeah.
So her, like you were commenting about the listening campaign, that it seems like she's starting to launch, kind of like when she did her New York Senate run. I think that she can get that inevitable label pulled off of her, but it's going to be a real challenge because of her potential rival, the Mr. Malley, the former governor of Maryland. He seems to be a challenger from the left, so I think she might struggle a bit.
Well, I tell you, Patrick, I appreciate the call, and I think you make a good point. But I believe that the Clinton campaign and Hillary herself recognize that that is a real challenge and recognize it's a liability, if you will, and they don't want to be seen as considering her nomination nor election as inevitable, which is why she started out in the very low-key way that she did. Let us find out somebody who knows her better than anybody else. John Allen wrote the book on Hillary Clinton with Amy Parnes, HRC, and he joins us in a newsline now. He is now the chief political correspondent for Vox at Vox.com. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm good. That's a heck of an introduction. There are some people who know Hillary Clinton better than I do, but for the purposes of this show,
all right.
I love the introduction.
Let's just go with
it. Let's go with it.
You spent a whole year writing that book about it, right? And now working on the follow-up.
Working on the next book covering this campaign.
So this is a day you've been waiting for a long time.
I know.
What did you think about the way she announced?
I was surprised at how good that video was.
That was a damn good video.
I mean, just on the optics level and the sort of political observer level, I thought it was great and upbeat. Music was upbeat. What was fascinating about it to me was
a nice mix of people, voices, average people you could all relate to, I thought, huh?
Yeah, and what's amazing to me is usually in a political video like that, those people are saying, I have hopes for the future, and that's why I back candidate X. None of that in this. I thought that was fascinating. They really decided to play down the politics almost to the level that didn't look like a campaign video until the very end when she said she was running for president.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was, and also...
I was wondering what drug I was being sold.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. I thought also the message, Peter, if we can, the one where she says, I guess it's the last one where the deck is stacked. I mean, to me, all this talk about income equality, middle-class economics, which is going to be a theme of this campaign. You certainly expect it from Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, but she embraces it, and I thought the way she articulates it is something everybody can relate to. Here it is.
Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top. Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. So you can do more than just get by. You can get ahead and stay ahead, because when families are strong, America is strong.
Pretty good message.
It's a good message, and it blends a couple of things there really nicely, which is we've come back, crediting President Obama,
right.
And instead of saying, there are still challenges that lie ahead for us, she says, well, when the economy gets back, the deck's still stacked in favor of the big guy, in favor of the rich guy, which is sort of a perpetual system. This is ongoing, regardless of where the economy is, and I think that's very appealing to the left. Now, it's what's interesting to me, one of the things that's interesting to me is so many people want to pigeonhole her and have her be sort of a one-dimensional character. I actually think there are a lot of ways in which the underdog campaign fits who she's been for a long time. She's had trouble playing to that and emphasizing those parts of her, but if she can push that up a little bit and pull down some of the other aspects of her for this campaign, she's off to a good start.
I like that phrase, so you can not just get by, but get ahead.
Right. Not just, right.
And middle-class Americans have been maybe able to get by in this economy, but they certainly have not gotten ahead.
No, not unless. Well, look, I mean, it depends on your definition of middle class, I suppose. There are a lot of middle class people that had homes that survived with their homes, that then got benefits to refinance their homes. I mean, my father told me a long time ago, there's no such thing as a good economy or a bad economy, or it shouldn't be looked at strictly as a good economy or a bad economy. It's how you do within the economy that most people are judging. So.
Yeah. So where should she go from here? This 1 month of a listening tour, sort of again.
Yeah, she jumped in a van. She's nicknamed it the Scooby Machine. The Republicans quickly jumped on that and said the actual Scooby-Doo van was the Mystery Machine.
Once he's driving it, right.
Right, no, I assume they're going to tweet out pictures of her driving it to get rid of that thing about how she hasn't driven in 20 years. Maybe unlicensed driving if that happens, which could get her back into a problem from the 2008 campaign, if you remember driver's licenses.
As you were coming in, you were talking to Patrick out in Phoenix, where we were saying there is this idea of the inevitability of a Hillary nomination, something she's really trying to counter, isn't she? In the way she announced and this listening tour is that I'm not the former Secretary of State or the former U.S. Senator who deserves this nomination, and you've got to give it to me. She's going out and asking for it.
I'm just Hills. Yeah, no, it's... No, I mean, the irony is
just call me Hill.
The last time she ran, like there was a coronation.
Yes.
This time there is a coronation in the Democratic primary, and it looks like she's going to go out and work for votes, which is smart. What else is she supposed to do for the next year while the Republicans beat each other up?
Yeah. Interesting that I saw on the news last night, some poll, whatever it was quoted, that 72% of American people still think she should have a primary contest. Even though they may support her for president, they think she ought to have a... Which, they're not contradictory. It's interesting.
I look at that sort of the opposite way, which is that 28% of American people think she shouldn't have any competition. And if you look at the way the questions are asked, it's sort of, do you think that there should be a debate? Like, basically, do you believe in democracy or not? And 28% say, screw it, I want her. But so I don't think she actually has a huge problem within the Democratic Party. I think she's pretty... I mean, I don't remember the Democratic Party having this much of a feeling about one candidate, being so unified behind one candidate, unless it was Bill Clinton in '96, and even then I think there were people...
Well, if you're talking about, I mean, it's not a fair comparison to say Obama in 2012 because he was the incumbent president.
Right. I'm talking about
with an
open seat.
Bill Clinton in '92.
No.
The whole.
Well, I was saying that even in '96 there might have been more Democrats who wanted wanted a primary. Something. Bill Bradley and Al Gore in 2000. Whether you have Gary Hart and Walter Mondale in '84. Right. I mean, there's always some significant fight.
Now, in your role, you're not going to be asked this question, but were you asked this question by the, John Podesta kind of pulled you aside, or Hillary pulled you aside and said, all right, what are the 2 or 3 things that you think we should really do in this campaign? What would your advice be?
It's a great question. I think I think they're starting off on the right foot in terms of get her out among voters.
Play it low key?
Yeah. Instead of being mean to the press or nice to the press, I might ignore the press. That's terrible advice for me to give as a member of the media, but there's so many ways to communicate directly with your constituents and with the American public these days that the media has become something to be handled, but to not they've had dramatic relations with the press.
Yeah.
First it's angry, then it's we're going to warm up and be nice to everybody. I think they should just can some of that stuff and worry about their message to the public. And the other thing I think is that they really have to find a way to make it clear, whether it's true or not, that there aren't one set of rules for the Clintons and another set of rules for everybody else, because I think that really turns Americans off.
Yeah.
Whether they're Republicans or Democrats, I think that's one of those issues that will continue to be a problem for her.
Play by the same set of rules. And that's also, we already hear that theme that Republicans have been using. Reince Priebus was using that against her yesterday, and others will as well. The book is HRC, John Allen's The Man, co-author with Amy Parnes. Hillary Clinton's the candidate. John, now chief political correspondent for Vox.com. Never get a better chance to talk to someone who's has been following Hillary for almost full time for the last year and a half or more. 866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. We'll continue on the other side.
This is the Bill Press Show.
What gets you into college? Good SAT scores? High GPA? Lots of extracurriculars?
Sure, but what you really need is money.
If you don't have the cash, you'll need a loan.
And we mean huge student loans, because the cost of college has risen 1,000% in the last 30 years.
This means big money for the banks that collect fees and interest.
Now, millions of young people are starting their adult lives with an average of $29,000 of loans on their backs.
Altogether, we're talking $1.2 trillion in student debt.
And more people are finding it impossible to pay them back. Welcome to the student debt crisis.
The increasing demand for higher education and cuts to state funding gave colleges a huge incentive to keep inflating prices.
I graduated about a year ago, currently in $35,000 of debt.
I am in debt about like $25,000.
I owe $23,000.
I owe over $50,000 in student loans.
38.8 million Americans owe money on a student loan. And the biggest names in banking are making huge profits off the booming student loan industry. Sallie Mae, the largest provider of private student loans, made $949 million last year.
They only give you about 6 months to look for a job. You have to start paying back the loan. It's very pressuring, especially nowadays. It's very hard to find a job.
Over half of the students graduating in 2012 could not find a decent paying job.
They either had low-wage jobs or unpaid internships or were unemployed altogether.
So you can't make the payments. You start incurring late fees, which makes the loan even harder to pay off.
And it stays with you for years, even decades.
Right now, a third of the people who started repaying their loans are delinquent or in default.
That's 13.7 million people, more than the populations of Chicago, New York, and San Francisco combined.
Worse, it's not just the borrowers who are in trouble. Many loans require co-signers.
So if the student is unable to pay, that co-signer, a father, a mother, or a grandparent, is now on the hook.
Even a grandparent's Social Security benefits can be garnished to pay the loan.
We should have an answer to this. If you get really behind in your car payment or your credit cards, you can file for bankruptcy.
But Congress has made it nearly impossible to discharge student loans through bankruptcy.
Big institutions make big profits while students try to make ends meet under crushing debt.
Is this how we want our education system to work?
The whole point of going to college is to get the career you want. But lately I've been discouraged because no one can afford school. You get a job just to pay off your student loans.
We need higher education, not higher debt.
Sign up to end the student debt crisis at higherednotdebt.org.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
At 12 minutes before the top of the hour, Ray Locker, who is a Washington Enterprise editor for USA Today, joins us in the next hour as a friend of Bill. And we'll be joined by Jess McIntosh, who is the communications director for Emily's List. Nobody more happy than Emily's List that Hillary Clinton has made it official. They've been unofficially pushing a Hillary Clinton for president campaign for the last year and a half, anyhow.
They had a Madam President campaign. I can't think of anybody else for whom that was suited. And Jess in particular, I think, will be particularly happy. I said particular a lot, but Jess will be very happy.
Yes, indeed. So there was somebody missing on the video yesterday. Husband, Bill.
Who?
Yeah, right. Obviously, that was a deliberate choice. How big a role do you think he's going to be playing in this campaign?
I think he's going to be placated as much as possible by the Clinton campaign team.
Does that mean sidelined?
Not exactly sidelined. I think they're going to try to do what Barack Obama did, which is bring him in, ask him his advice, listen to him, nod, talk to him about statistics and what's going on the field, make him feel like he's engaged in the campaign, and then he'll be a surrogate down the stretch, convention speaker, somebody who goes out and hits the stump for her when necessary, and they will try as hard as they can to prevent him from having any ad-lib or mad-lib moments on the campaign trail.
Because he certainly is a huge asset, but he also got in the way in 2008. Right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, the comments in South Carolina that were perceived to be insensitive racially, that if Jesse Jackson won South Carolina, of course, Barack Obama could. There were other instances of that. He got very angry. Anger doesn't come off well in politics, as you well know, because you're a nice guy and you don't get angry at people. But
no, definitely not him.
Never. So, no, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. You're always nice to me. I just figured that's from a lifetime in politics.
I get pissed off sometimes.
Do you?
Go ahead.
But you're probably nice about it. At least, you probably don't sit there and scream at people and get red in the face like Bill Clinton.
I won't let Peter.
No, never, ever seen that happen.
No, so, I mean, I think the key for them is to use him like Barack Obama used him, and he will probably feel a little put on the shelf by that. And so that'll be a tension in this campaign.
Yeah, and it's harder, of course, when you're married to the guy, But
he's got a blind spot for her, right? I mean, he gets angrier about things that go on with her. It's actually, ironically, or in a funny way, one of the ways in which I think you can tell that he cares for her.
Right.
He gets so angry when somebody's attacking her or when he feels like things are unfair for her.
The other thing that Hillary Clinton did in making her announcement is she resigned from the Clinton Foundation. Why?
She had to. I don't think there's any way that she could continue to be on the board of the Clinton Foundation as it's raising money from all of these donors, well-heeled individuals, foreign countries, folks who have legal issues that want their reputations laundered. This was something that was inevitable. I'm surprised it took this long for her to get there, to actually firmly step down. We've already seen a raft of stories, including some I've written about the proximate ties between the Clintons and people with interest before the government.
The foreign government contributions could prove to be a problem. Certainly, where she may still be, but more so if she were actually a trustee of the foundation. Certainly more so if she were a trustee of the foundation, at which point she has a fiduciary responsibility to help the donors. So there was never any time at which it was plausible that she would stay on the foundation board and run for president. All right, so you now are the chief political correspondent for Vox. I would assume you're going to be writing about Hillary Clinton today. There's so many different angles. What angle are you going to come at this story for? What's your take?
I don't know. Today might be a Marco Rubio day, but the new take on
reminder, sure.
But then I've done 4 pieces on Hillary for Vox already. Including 2 yesterday. I'm starting to run out of good ideas. You put me on the spot. I hope my editor's not listening.
I was just wondering what
it's a good question,
because I've been talking about it a lot too, and I feel the same.
I think the new angle is going to be how is she reacted to by people that she's interacting with, and is that a smooth, relaxed process, or does she get in front of them and she's awkward, which is,
Well, I can't write that story until she gets to Iowa. It's going to be a couple
Tuesday,
of days.
Right? Tuesday, I believe. That's what I'm told. Now, this is awesome. The van trip. She's. The question is she going to be living in a van down by the hipsters in Brooklyn? If you remember the Saturday Night Live skit.
And so let's just take 45 seconds maybe on Marco Rubio. Announces today at this Freedom Tower, very symbolic spot in Miami. I just keep thinking, is there really room in Florida for 2 Republican presidential candidates?
This fight within Florida is fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Whoever wins Florida walks out and then has to win a Republican nomination fight. And, you would think about that sort of in a narrative form in the past, I think. But in this case, these guys are really actually fighting each other for operatives and money. And I think Marco Rubio's plan is to hang back a little bit, hope that Jeb Bush gets destroyed, and then move forward. And he's done a pretty good job, I think, of carving a niche for himself as serious on national security issues and foreign policy issues in a way that some of the other Republicans who have gotten a lot of attention are not seen, at least in Washington and I think in broader foreign policy circles.
Now, I can see a strategy that Jeb, who's out there in front right now, folds and maybe Scott Walker fades, and then Marco Rubio comes up the middle.
And he's following the neocon playbook. His slogan, "New American Century," is something that Bill Kristol came up with. So,
and Hillary's. I know Hillary's is very close to what Obama did. Hillary for America. Hillary for America too. John Allen. All right, big day for you. Big day for all of us. Thanks so much for coming in. Great to see you. Follow John at vox.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
When I started learning about nutrition, about which, by the way, much less is known than you might think, I learned that what mattered most about one's health was not necessarily the nutrients, good or bad, that you were consuming or staying away from, or even the calorie counts. But what predicted a healthy diet more than anything else is the fact that it was being cooked by a human being and not a corporation. Corporations cook very differently than people do. They use vast amounts of salt, fat, and sugar, much more than you would ever use in your own cooking. And the reason they do that is those are 3 incredibly attractive and incredibly cheap ingredients. And when they're layered properly, as in a chip or pastries and forms of junk food, they're incredibly addictive. They really press our buttons. They activate our dopamine network, our cravings. And in fact, people in the industry, they don't talk about addiction in the food industry, even though they traffic in addiction. They talk about craveability. It's the same thing. And snackability is another term they use. It's a lovely word. And then the last point about corporate cooking that's important to understand is they cook different stuff than you do at home. What they're good at, in general, they don't cook that well, but things like chips, they cook incredibly well. And here's a classic food that if you make it yourself, if you've ever made French fries, you have to wash the potatoes, you have to peel the potatoes, you have to slice the potatoes, you have to fry them in a lot of oil, you have to spatter your entire stovetop, you have to clean up, and then you have this pot of oil you have to get rid of. I mean, it's really difficult, and it's a pain. They're wonderful, but it's a pain. And if you make them yourself, you'll only eat them every 6 weeks, 2 months, because it's too much work. But when you let corporations cook for you, it's so simple and so inexpensive, and they're really good, that you will have them twice a day, as many people in America do. So you see the kinds of foods you end up with are these labor-intensive foods and desserts. These special occasion foods become everyday foods when we let industry cook for us. Eat anything you want, just cook it yourself.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Ray Locker from USA Today joins us in the next hour as a friend of Bill. President Obama today has a meeting with leaders of American Jewish organizations at 1:45. And then he's doing some live interviews this afternoon with the anchors from for Columbus, Harrisburg, Madison, Portland, and Sioux Falls. Back with Ray Locker in hour number 3.
Bill Press Show.
Okay, hour number 3 coming up after 2 exciting hours, and we'll continue to talk about Hillary Clinton, her big announcement yesterday, what it means, and where we go from here, joined by 2 great guests, Ray Locker, who is the Washington editor for USA Today. He'll be here in studio with us, and we'll be joined by Jess McIntosh, the communications director for Emily's List. Of course, Emily's List has had no greater goal their entire existence than electing the first female president of the United States, and it looks like they may have their chance. Hour number 3 coming up. Stay tuned.
West here reporting from Houston, Texas for Climate Desk. Now, one of the biggest uncertainties in climate science right now is the role of clouds. What better way to work that part out than flying right through them? That's what NASA scientists aboard this airplane think. Welcome to NASA's biggest airborne laboratory. You're coming with us today on an 8-hour NASA flight mission.
When you read these big IPCC climate assessments, what's the biggest uncertainty? There's 2, right? The role of aerosols and clouds. Clouds is probably bigger than aerosols.
That is a piece of a puzzle that right now we are missing.
You can't get the models right if you don't understand the chemistry and the process.
Now we're being told we've got to get on. The doors are about to shut, so let's go aboard. Every time you turn on the weather, every time you hear a climate change prediction, that information has to come from somewhere. And it starts by getting sucked out of the air from planes like this.
mission is to particularly try to understand the emissions from the surface, so mostly biogenic emissions, so from trees and other plants.
Right now we're flying to our very first part of this experiment on the DC-8. Over Arkansas, there's a particularly pungent bouquet of emissions that scientists are interested in measuring.
Well, these emissions lead to both aerosols and to molecules that both destroy and create ozone. So these are very important things to understand for climate studies.
How it will manifest itself, it will be in more accurate and more reliable predictions.
So what we're doing is taking a series of flyovers, each at a different level of the atmosphere, scooping up those emissions, testing them, and hopefully scientists are going to see exactly what's in this column of air all the way up.
The data that we collect in one flight can keep busy 60 scientists and students for 3 years, 4 years. We're still studying data from data collected 20 years ago.
In fact, this particular mission today is its most heavily equipped in its nearly 30 years of service. Each one of these consoles here is a specially equipped scientific instrument designed to collect all sorts of different data in real time.
And this instrument here tracks the sun.
We're looking at mist chambers. They're used to strip soluble gases.
This black line is the CO2. It's about 390 ppm right now.
We're putting these filters in the bags that we've got the aerosols that we trapped out of a certain amount of air. And so we're sampling up here about 150 liters a minute.
That ultimately flows back into the operational models. It flows back into what goes on TV every day.
Anyway, I got to get this sample going.
You do it. It's a busy man at work. We can't let him rest. Well, get this. We've just spent 2 hours crisscrossing this one cloud formation. In, back out again, back in again.
Then they grow, and we track them as long as we can, and then we let it go.
Even one cloud can hold a host of answers to the mysteries of climate change.
The patterns of, where the clouds are, what type of clouds we see, what kind of weather systems they're associated with it, that'll all be shifting in a shifting climate, in a world with climate change.
Then the big spark is when we actually get the meat on the grill. And then it will be some time to process it.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Surprise, surprise, Hillary Clinton is running for president. But she made it official yesterday. That dominates the news today on this Monday, April 13. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Bill Press Show, our morning roundtable here in Town Hall, looking at the issues of the day, wherever it's happening. Here in Washington, D.C., that's where you find us. Around the country, around the globe, but we're on top of it. We'll tell you what's going on and look forward to hearing from you. Good to be with you on your local progressive talk radio station, nationwide, all across this great country of ours. Every nook and cranny, every town hall and village, town and village and big city, we are there. As well, there with you on Free Speech TV, on DirecTV or the Dish Network, if you got a satellite dish. And worldwide, looking at you on our video stream, youtube.com/talker, TAWKR-TV. And we want to hear from you what you think about the news of the day. So give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show or on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. A lot of political news today. Hillary Clinton announcing yesterday. Marco Rubio today. Who knows who it's going to be tomorrow? Ray Lockyer is on top of all of this for USA Today, Washington Enterprise editor, and kind enough to join us for this hour as a friend of Bill. Hello, Ray. Nice
Great to be here.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yep.
Yeah, and exciting times, huh?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, wasn't any surprise that Hillary Clinton was running for president, but everybody was waiting for the day when it was going to happen. Now we can end the suspense. We're in official campaign mode with her.
Yep. Talk about it and talk about the video and everything. So Our team this morning, Peter Ogburn, of course, here as always. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Bill. Happy Monday.
Elisa Murphy has the week off, but Alicia Cruz is here on the phones, ready for your calls again at 866-55-PRESS. And Monty Kanzler here as our videographer today, filling in for Cyprian Bolding. So we're up at full speed. But I got to tell you, so politics was the big news yesterday. But boy, watching the Masters wind up yesterday was really exciting.
Oh, incredible! I mean, 21-year-old Jordan Spieth out of Texas. He is on fire.
Boy, and Peter was pointing out this is the first time in I don't know how many years that whoever was up, the same guy was up first day, second day, third. Nobody could slow him down, and nobody could catch him.
Right. No, he's got a great game, tremendous poise for somebody of that age. He's been playing golf competitively, good golf for a long time. I think he has a game to last.
Yeah, and such a cool cucumber. I mean, I talked to some people Saturday. Ran into and they said, "Oh, you watch, but Sunday it always happens, right? Hot shot, and then he fades at the end, falls apart."
Well, the difference with him is he's won tournaments before. He's won pro tournaments, so it's not like he was in a position that he'd never been in. As a matter of fact, he's had won one of the 3 tournaments leading up to the Masters, so he was in great shape. He's got a great game.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard for him yet to take it all in. It was interesting. Right after the match yesterday, after putting on the green jacket, they asked him, "Well, what does all this mean to you?" Here he is.
To have left school and take a chance and everything that happened in 2013 to prepare for last year to be in the majors and to have the opportunity. In 2013. Is the reason I had the experience from last year, which then allowed me to win this year. So it's all run together. It all happened quickly. Sometimes it feels like a long time ago, and sometimes it feels like yesterday.
So he's sort of making your point. He left school, spent a year kind of getting ready for this one. And he also said that basically when they asked him kind of what it all means, he said, I haven't had time to think about it yet. Maybe if you ask me in another week.
Right.
Yeah, right. Give me a week to think about beating Tiger Woods' record.
Yeah. When you win a major, that's when things get really complicated. The demands on your time just metastasize. People want to talk to you. They want you to do events. They want you to do endorsements. And that's the real test of a major winner. Can you hold it together, over the next 6 months, a year, when you deal with all these incoming demands?
Interesting to me that Tiger, he didn't win, but he held his own. He played a good game.
Yeah. except what was it on the ninth hole yesterday where he jammed up his hand.
Yeah.
Well, I hit a root or something. And now you got to wonder, what's his health look like? How's his wrist? How's his back?
He said something. He said he felt a bone pop out.
Yes.
Like out of joint or out of position. Then he put it back in, which is creepy.
Okay, that's kind of like the Terminator doing something. I mean, all I know is if I have a bone pop out, if I feel it, I'm not playing golf.
No, I think I'm done. I think I'm going to tap out.
Yeah, right.
Phil Mickelson had a good round, too. Yeah, ended up tying for second with Justin Rose. So, anyhow, so we're going to talk more politics than golf, but had to get started that way. Ray here with us again this entire hour is a friend of Bill, and Jess McIntosh, Communications Director for Emily's List. Their Madam President campaign is finally underway. We'll get right to it, but first,
this is the Full Court Press
with the top stories.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Just a couple of the stories making news. We go to Tennessee, where over the weekend, rapper Nelly was arrested on drug charges. He had methamphetamines in his possession, according to the police. His lawyer was quick to come out overnight and say that he will be cleared of these drug charges. The meth in question is not the meth of Nelly, but one of his associates, and so we'll see how this plays out. But for now, it's going to be a matter for the courts.
Oh boy, a rapper having a drug problem?
Oh,
yeah.
But he was holding it for a friend, right?
Yeah. We
just want to make sure of that.
We'll use that one. We go to the Cleveland Zoo, where a 2-year-old child found his way into the cheetah pit, which... That's what I'm getting to. Well, the original story was that he had fallen into the cheetah pit, and then as more eyewitnesses came forward, they said that the mother of the child was dangling this 2-year-old over the pit to try and be funny.
Unbelievable.
The child fell. Father jumped in after the child. Just a couple of scrapes and bruises. Everybody's fine. No one got eaten by a cheetah. But what a crazy story, right?
The cheetahs were the best behaved people there, or creatures there.
Yeah. Put that mom on display. And Ivica Jurkovic of Croatia lost his wallet in 2001. He says he can't remember exactly how he lost it. He either lost it at a party or when he was driving a friend home. Well, he was given his wallet back. Someone returned the wallet to him with all of the money inside of it. He had $1,900 of American money in his wallet, and they returned it to him because it had his old ID in it. Yeah, right? Maybe he was talking to Nelly. But he got his wallet back with all the money. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Just 14 years later, right?
Yeah, how about that?
Crazy.
I wonder what they were doing with it all that time. Did they pay him interest on the money?
They should have.
So, Ray, we're going to be talking particularly Hillary with Jess McIntosh here at the half. In the meantime, let's not forget, this is Marco Rubio's day, too, right?
Yep.
Maybe a little overshadowed by the Hillary announcement yesterday, but
well, a little
pretty
bit.
Big one.
Yeah, but different audiences. I mean,
sure.
His problem is he's going to be overshadowed in a lot of areas during this campaign. In Florida by Jeb Bush, former governor of Florida, his kind of political mentor for a while.
Right.
And so now it's his challenge to find his own niche and then break out of that to become a top-tier candidate. And he has the oratorical skills to do it. Does he have the organization? Don't know.
Mm-hmm. And he and Jeb are fighting for the same support, basically, out of Florida in terms of money and
money for sure.
Money for sure.
And I mean, that's a big question for a lot of people. Florida money people, do they want to go with a new guy and kind of chart their own course, or do they want to go with somebody they know who has a proven track record, who, for Republicans was a good governor?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Democrats obviously have a different position, but
Yeah.
he was an effective governor, won handily 2 times. He's got the marquee name. He has a national network. What works for Rubio, and you know this from being in politics for a long time, is a lot of donors, they know if they go to Bush, they're going to be part of a big herd. If they go to Rubio, they're going to be a player. They can help make him a player, just like people who went to Obama in 2008 helped make him a player. And there's a lot of similarities between Obama and Rubio in terms of the length of time in the Senate, great speaking ability, an interesting story. So That's the big challenge for Rubio.
Now, depending on whom you count in or out, there are, pick a number, 17, 18, 19 potential Republican candidates. A lot of them are going to drop out. We know that. Is Rubio in the top tier, do you think?
I think
is he there for the long haul?
I think he will make it through. I mean, he's going to contest the caucuses and the primaries. I think he's not going to run for re-election to the Senate. So he's going to stay in as long as he can. I think he's at the top of the second tier now, trying to elbow his way into the first tier. The first tier, to me, right now looks like Bush and Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin. And then Ted Cruz, who shows a tremendous ability to raise a lot of money, kind of polarizing, as we know.
He raised
gobs
ton
of money
here in the
and with
beginning.
the Super PAC network that we heard about last week, with the hedge fund guy Robert Mercer behind a lot of that. That's real money. That keeps you in the game for a long time. So Rubio has to fight there with Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, to try to get up there in a level with Bush and Walker.
And among the also runs at this time, maybe already, Rick Santorum?
Rick Santorum,
Rick Perry?
Rick Perry, I think they had their best shot in 2012. And I'm having a hard time seeing the rationale for their candidacy as an objective observer.
Is that true of Huckabee, too?
Yeah, I think Huckabee is kind of old news. I mean, I think Cruz kind of fights for that audience that Huckabee has and that they want to have. And I don't know how Huckabee raises money to compete with that. And that was his problem in 2008.
Yeah.
He did great in Iowa, and he, struck a chord with a lot of people, but couldn't close the deal because he didn't have the money to go for the long haul.
How about Rand Paul? I mean, talk about the odd duck, right? And yet he's odd, but at the same time he's maybe I wouldn't say establishment enough, but Republican enough that he seems to have a serious shot.
Right, he does, and like his father, ability to raise a lot of money, which is really the thing that keeps you in the game. It can keep you running a campaign for a long time. It can help you accrue some kind of delegates, at least until you get later in the primary field, and then you end up having to drop out because you just can't sustain it. I think he had an interesting week last week. Some of his TV interviews were weird. I mean, his fans like it.
A little thin-skinned, to say the least, right?
Look, if you can't handle Savannah Guthrie, are you going to handle Vladimir Putin? I mean, that's a real legitimate question.
But and Chuck Todd talked to him again about this over the weekend, and his defense is, well, I don't like it when they ask me about whether or not I changed my opinion on some issues. Basically, does it? Well, but he has, and that's a legitimate question.
Right, and that his people are doing the same thing to any other candidate in the field. Marco Rubio for immigration reform. Now he's against it. When in the heat of battle, that's an argument that's going to come out, and it's going to come back to Rand Paul. So, I mean, that's politics, right? I get RNC emails every day about Clinton changing her positions.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody does it, and you have to deal with it. That's the game.
Right, and even whatever his answer, I think people accept it that you can change a position too.
Yeah.
I mean, so he doesn't have to be so testy about it.
Every person in the world has made a decision and changed his or her mind. People can relate to that. For some reason in politics, that is seen as a sign of weakness. I think if you have a good reason why you did it, explain it and deal with it. I mean, you have to own it because everybody else is going to own it for you.
Right. The Clinton video, maybe surprising, the low-key nature of it. What do you think?
I mean, everybody knows she's running. She could have just sent out a tweet and said, I'm running for president, see me in Ottumwa, Iowa in a week, and a bazillion people would be there. I mean, it's not a secret.
She didn't have to have a great big rally in the Central Park or anything.
I mean, the last time around, there was a feeling of inevitability, that it was a big deal. She's running, okay, I'm here. And she doesn't want to do that this time because how did that work out? Not as well as she had hoped.
Yeah.
And she's trying to be, more to the low to the ground, grassroots, deal with people. not look like this is some kind of coronation procession. So in that regard, I thought it worked well.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. A deliberate decision. Let's not look like the anointed one, right?
Look at how she did in 2008. When she had her back to the wall, she did her best. When she was out there dealing with real people and smaller audiences, New Hampshire, when she beat Obama, when everybody thought she was cooked. Some of the Midwestern states, when she did better than people thought, they were ready to counter out. That's what she needs to do. That's what what resonates with voters.
Yeah. Here we are. It may only be April 13, but we are every day more and more into full-time 2016. Ray Locker here with us from USA Today, usatoday.com. We invite your comments and your questions at 866-55-PRESS. Join the conversation when we come back.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand and they don't get it and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university? And,
people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies. In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer. Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 26 minutes after the hour, Ray Locker here from USA Today. And we'll be joined by Jess McIntosh from Emily's List at the half hour. This is, we're coming to you live from Washington, D.C., where the cherry blossoms, Ray, are in full bloom. They're in their full glory right now.
Yep. If you can see them, if you can fight through all the traffic to get there.
That is the challenge, right? And if there's a big rainstorm tomorrow, as I understand we might get, they could go. They go fast once they're up. But
it's kind of sad when the rain comes in. They're all on the sidewalk. You're like, oh man!
But they're glorious while they're in full bloom, and they are right today. And if, as you say, if you don't believe that, just look at the traffic yesterday, and you would know that it is. So if you are not feeling depressed enough for the moment, I just want to remind you, it is 576 days from now until election, November 2016.
You just love bumming people out with that, man.
I do. Yeah.
I'm already tired of it. I'm already burned out.
Right?
Every cycle I get tired of it earlier and earlier. So the 2020
it starts earlier and earlier.
So I'm already tired of the 2020 campaign. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, they're already talking about Marco Rubio 2020, Elizabeth Warren, who knows? Yeah, good. But with Hillary, so when she gets to Iowa, and she's driving to Iowa, it's just going to be a series of low-key meetings, right? Is that?
Well, I guess once she actually can get in the room to meet with people, she's going to have to fight through a gauntlet of people to get inside there. Yeah. There's going to be this giant herd of media. Her authentic moments with voters are going to be few and far between because that's just the nature of who she is in the campaign. But she's going to try her best. And I think that's what she needs to be doing. Right. People that need to see her and get that experience with her.
All right, Ray Locker here, Jess McIntosh coming up, and your call's welcome.
Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek. So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away if you feel like $1,000,000. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
33 minutes after the hour, Monday, April 13. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you, and good to have you with us here on the Bill Press Show. Coming to you live from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and our studio on Capitol Hill, where we are brought to you today by the United Steelworkers and their colorful, articulate, hard-hitting international president, Leo Gerard. The United Steelworkers, North America's largest industrial union, representing over 1.2 million active and retired members. And you can check out there and find out more about their good work at their website, usw.org. Ray Locker is here with us for the entire hour as a friend of Bill this Monday morning. And joining us, Ray, in studio right now, to talk particularly about the Hillary Clinton campaign, the Director of Communications for the great Emily's List, Jess McIntosh. Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you both.
Okay, you've had the Madam President campaign going for what, 2 years now?
I think it's longer than that, actually.
Longer than that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was early in 2013 when there were many conversations happening about Hillary Clinton running in 2016, which seemed desperately far away, and there was no possible way that we were going to be able to talk about a hypothetical candidacy for that long. I'm really excited that we've done it. She's in now. It's not a hypothetical candidacy anymore. But Emily's List wanted to make sure that we weren't just talking about one woman and one cycle, and that the conversation around putting a woman in the White House was more about women's leadership and the need to sort of fill that gap and to find the right woman to finally do it. Which includes, Kirsten Gillibrand and Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren and a whole host of other names that ought to be in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were pretty successful in that, actually. I think those names are there now, and I'm glad they are. And now we have Hillary, and
now she's a candidate. So
Yep.
It was 3:27 yesterday afternoon that Hillary released her video. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Starts out with a group of average Americans just talking about kind of what's going on in their lives.
I thought it was a pre-roll ad when it started, and I know from Twitter I'm not the only person who had that reaction.
I did too.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Like, how weird, a pre-roll ad on her video.
Yeah. And just hear some of these voices. People just talking about kind of what's going on in their lives.
My daughter is about to start kindergarten next year, and so we're moving just so she can belong to a better school.
Mi hermano y yo estamos empezando un
I'm not sure what that guy is saying.
After 5 years of raising my children, I am now going back to work.
Every day we're trying to get more ready and more prepared.
Baby boy coming your way.
Baby boy coming your way. There was a same-sex couple getting married this summer, and a mix of a woman who's going to close to retirement, a mix of ages and voices and races and the whole kind of diversity of America. And then Hillary just says, hey, I got something coming up too, right?
At about 1:30, you see her for the first time.
Right.
It's 90 seconds of not her.
I'm getting ready to do something too. I'm running for president.
What do you think, Ray?
I'm stunned that she's running for president. I mean, I thought it was a nice video. I mean, she's got to start things a different way than she did the last time, and she's going to soften her image, be more with people. This is a way to do that. The people at the beginning kind of set it up. They hit all the high points of a Democratic coalition. And that's what she needs to get into. She needs to tap all those elements that kind of escaped her the last time.
And it got a lot of response, didn't it?
It
I'm
did.
sure your members are ecstatic.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, this was a strange sort of surprise because everybody knew it was coming, and we even knew the date and roughly the afternoon. So it's hard to really get a lot of enthusiasm going for a thing that everyone is fully expecting. And she did it. I mean, this video was unexpected. In a way, everybody knew that her goal would be to make it about American families and not about her. We all knew that. But how she was going to do it was still sort of in the dark. And then here comes this thing that looks so utterly unlike a campaign ad and completely different from anything that the Republicans are putting out today. And at 1:30, here's Hillary very low-key announcing that she's running for president and she wants to earn our votes. And for somebody who had been sitting around hitting refresh all morning, starting at around 9 a.m., I was genuinely surprised. It was exciting that she was able to do that.
I also think and this is important, maybe I don't want to make too much of it. I thought she looked good. I've seen her when she looked heavier, more tired, kind of worn out. She looked great on that video.
She seems really excited about what's coming up and tweeting from the van on the way to Iowa. I mean, this just seems like a happy warrior Hillary Clinton.
And there was a message, Peter, if we could just jump to that fourth cut there, the very last one. Elizabeth Warren last week said, whoever runs has got to run on income inequality, right? We got to fight for the middle class. Bernie Sanders has been saying that. Even Barack Obama's been saying that. I think the way she summed it up in her message was really very, very, very well done, very powerful, and something everybody could relate to. Here's that key sentence.
Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top. Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. So you can do more than just get by. You can get ahead and stay ahead, because when families are strong, America is strong.
Yeah, I must say, I don't think you could sum it up any better. Right?
Well, that's what people want her to say. That's where all the pressure in the Democratic Party is coming from. It's coming from the left. They want more progressive, talk, more progressive image. She's seen as more of a corporate person, which is inevitable when you've been a senator from New York State. You've been a first lady for 8 years. You've been a secretary of state. You're with all these people in power, and money goes with power. So now she's got to separate herself from that and move a little bit to the left, I'd say. I think she's kind of there anyways. I mean, we're not talking, she's not like, Strom Thurmond in 1950, that kind of Democrat.
I mean, let's remember in the 1990s, it was Hillary's goal to make sure people didn't think that she was this far left radicalized feminist. Right. This is obviously not, not a woman who has spent her career to the right of most Democrats.
Right. Everybody thought she was going to lead this kind of socialistic takeover of healthcare and do all these things, and she was the leftist influence on her husband, and now she's seen as some old mossback, which is not really accurate as was the
Right.
portrayal in the 90s wasn't accurate.
So did you write those words there?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, of course not. No, and I thought
the phrase like not just get by but get ahead.
Yeah.
I think is a
and I think America being strong when families are strong. I think it takes it sort of out of the 30,000 foot and makes it real. But I mean, for everybody calling on Hillary to move farther to the left, I feel like they haven't listened to what she's been saying. That cut was straight out of any one of the major speeches that she's given over the last few months. The stuff that she talked about at our Emily's List 30th anniversary celebration just last month was all about how we can get struggling American families to do a little bit better. And let's not talk about breaking glass ceilings when the floor is falling out from under you. She's got these amazing, wonderful lines about income inequality and, frankly, exactly the kind of things that economic populists are like clamoring to hear from her. It's great. But just listen.
Now, right now, she is doing something, and Jess, that I don't think any presidential candidate should be forced to do. She is driving to Iowa. Going to Iowa is bad enough. Driving to Iowa.
Well, is she actually doing the driving? Because I don't think she's driven a car in like 20 years.
She had said that.
That's right.
She's in with some
that's
campaign
a question,
staff.
but like John Allen was in, and John was indicating that she's driving.
And what is she
Doing some of
driving
the-
in? Is
a
it
van.
A van.
It's a van.
She calls it the Scooby van, according to Twitter.
Oh.
Is she in there with Shaggy in the back
I think
and
so.
a dog?
Apparently.
And who's with her?
I know that her longtime aide Huma Abedin is with her. I'm not sure who else is in the van. But the first picture
Just the two girls in the van driving to Iowa.
What's on the radio?
Yeah, right.
I mean, she tweeted the first picture of a family
I
that
hope
she
she
met in
downloaded
Pennsylvania.
the iHeartRadio or the TuneIn app, Peter, before she left.
She could listen to the show, yeah.
I hope so, yeah. Right now.
Well, so the first thing that she tweeted about it was a photo of a family that she met stopping for gas in Pennsylvania. I think this is great. This is like an awesome opportunity for her to showcase sort of America and American families.
Oh, well,
Why
it's
not?
a tremendous freak-out factor, too. I mean, you're there pumping gas at the Exxon station, and Hillary Clinton pops out of the next van, getting a warmed-over burrito from the microwave. You're like, what?
Yeah, but how long before the hordes of media trucks start following that van?
Oh, I know.
Oh, it'll be like the OJ chase.
Yeah, right.
Down the Ohio Turnpike.
Well, I mean, this is part of the challenge, is that she wants to do this low-key, small venue rollout, and I'm not sure how that works when you are covered like you're the Pope.
Ray was
by
making the
media.
point. She got the first time she goes to somebody to meet them in their living room, for a little coffee clutch or something. She'll have to fight her way to the front door through, hundreds of reporters. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, or you restrict access and you try to pool with only one, and then you have people saying you're not accessible enough to the media. This is going to be a
It's
tough
a challenge.
needle to thread.
It's a challenge, but I'm sure they've anticipated
I'm sure
this.
they have great
Here.
people.
So Hillary Clinton, it is now official. She is a candidate for president in 2016. You've been waiting for this for a long time. What do you think? 866-55-PRESS. Back with Ray Locker and Jess McIntosh in just a couple of minutes.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I'm the retired bishop with the Episcopal Church as the bishop for all chaplains in federal service. I read that there was a group of people that represented a sense of injustice that I had. We'd lost Zuccotti. I mean, there was a kind of a hope that maybe Trinity Church would be gracious and give refuge. We picked this day where we would gather and demonstrate that Trinity was closing its ears to what was happening. We marched around the block, and I realized that, my goodness, they're carrying a ladder. And I thought, well, this is the moment. could feel a spiritual presence. You could feel a certain something. And then the cops came in. It got brutal.
I'm with you right here. Robin, I'm here.
The church needed, in this moment in history, to stand alongside of these protesters. The truth of Christ is found in the pews, is found in the institutional church, but it is also found in the streets. It's found in the honesty and the integrity, the insistence of people that you find in Occupy Wall Street.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies in Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on Talker TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
12 minutes before the top of the hour, Hillary Clinton. She is a candidate for president. No more speculation about it. She's on her way to Iowa. She said to ask people for their vote, some down-to-earth retail campaigning. After releasing her video, watch the video. You really have to watch the video to get the full picture of what Hillary Clinton's message is. And one person missing on that video is former President Bill Clinton.
Is he a candidate for president too?
Or
one of those everyday American families?
Which category does he fall
No,
into?
I think it's really important that this campaign...
Why no Bill Clinton?
Because this campaign isn't about Bill or Hillary. This campaign isn't about Hillary. It's about the women and men and families that she is working to put forward an agenda that makes their economic reality just a little bit better. If she makes it about herself, it becomes the kind of project no one wants to see. She's not going to earn votes that way. Making it about Bill is one step removing from making it about herself even. I think the focus was exactly where it needed to be. That was on American families. That's
certainly by design not to include Bill.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she doesn't need the focus on him. She just said, doesn't really need it on her. Yep. Needs it on other people.
Yeah, she never says, I'm former Secretary of State.
Hillary Clinton does not. That name doesn't show up in the video. Those words are never spoken.
Yeah, she doesn't have to say I'm former senator from New York, right? I've had more experience than anybody else. I mean, she never makes that case.
Everybody
in fact, nobody
knows
even
that. Right.
Yeah. Right.
You know what they don't know is a little bit of her, like her origin story is I mean, when growing up middle class in Illinois, I think is a thing that most people don't actually know she did. What did her parents do?
I don't. I know she grew up in Chicago, but I don't know. But she didn't grow up in Arkansas. I know.
Right. But if you say John Edwards, like you think son of a mill worker, you know where Barack Obama's parents were born.
Because he told us over and over and
yes, that's true. And I'm not suggesting an ad nauseum strategy like he had. But I think it's important to know that she's the daughter of a small business owner and a secretary. She grew up middle class. This is, the Republicans are going to talk about a dynasty as if the Clintons have anything to do with a dynastic family. They're a married couple from pretty normal roots.
That's what I was going to say. If you look at how the comparison is already being drawn between Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton, both familiar with the White House. Her husband was the president. His dad was the president. His brother was the president. I mean, it's two totally different things when you look at how they were brought up.
Right.
And Jeb's grandfather was also a United States Senator.
Right, sure.
That is an actual dynasty.
Exactly.
and she wins on the Bush-Clinton matchup because she's only the second iteration of Clinton as opposed to the third or fourth or however far back you want to go. And they both came from, relatively normal or humbler beginnings than the Bushes did. I mean, and that's not the Bushes' fault. That's just the way it is. But, I mean, they're more... the Clintons are more relatable when you get to their origins.
Absolutely.
Are you really saying that that's what we're going to have, the Bush-Clinton rematch?
I think that if you were going to bet now, that's the bet you have to make unless you play long shots. Look, the Republicans tend to go with the person whose turn it seems to be. That was Mitt Romney. That was George W. Bush. They align the corporate interest, the establishment interest, the money. They know how to put together a national campaign that's sustainable. Everybody else who's an insurgent, it's much tougher to do in the Republican Party. And so the challenge for somebody who's not Jeb Bush is to beat him. And that's where you're going to see the tension.
Yeah. There we go. Back to the future. But again, I think that's what Hillary is trying not to make this Back to the Future, because she's not talking about, we did a good job in 92, now a shot. No. This is...
And it is a historic candidacy. We have never elected a woman president. I think as we talk about her as this inevitable juggernaut, we lose that, and that's
so
sad.
How big an issue? Do you think that will be she'll make that a big issue in this campaign?
I don't think she should make that a big issue in this campaign.
People will.
I think people will. I think in 2016 we're in a different place than we were in 2008. There really has been a coalescing around women's leadership. We've seen,
I agree.
Women candidates are the standard bearers every year. They run the top tier races. We've seen women's
issues. And Obama never said, Obama never said, elect me because I'll be the first black president.
Everybody already knows that. They
Yeah.
see it all the time. We'll get back to what we were talking about with the Republican side.
Yeah.
When you have such a crowded field and one obvious front runner, which is Bush, then the challenge is who's going to take on him? Who's going to take it to him all the time? Nobody really wants to be that person because that person always loses.
Right.
And so you have a bunch of people who want somebody else to step up and really take the wood to him during a debate.
That's a really good point.
But that guy never wins.
Yeah.
And so they're all waiting for somebody to take the first shot. You saw it like Pawlenty kind of jabbed a little bit at Romney and then wimped out during a debate when he had the chance. And so who's willing to take one for the team, the anti-Jeb team? And we don't know who that's going to be.
Well, interesting. It could be Rand Paul, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So it's so much fun to watch. And what a great, big, important day. And by the end of the day, we'll have yet one more presidential candidate to talk about. Jess McIntosh, great to see you.
Great
Congratulations
to see you.
to Emily's List, Emily'sList.org. And Ray Locker, you can follow at usatoday.com. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
I'll be back with a quick wrap-it-up parting shot.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
This with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
Yep, as we've been talking about all morning, it's official. She is in with her video. Hillary Clinton finally made the long-awaited announcement that she's running for president. Every day Americans need a champion. I want to be that champion, she says on the video, echoing themes of income inequality emphasized by Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. She also says we need to focus on helping middle-class families and grow beyond an economy that helps only those at the top. For Democrats, it's an exciting moment. The former First Lady of Arkansas, former First Lady of the United States, former United States Senator from New York, and former Secretary of State stands ready to become the first female president of the United States. She is on her way, driving to Iowa. She is off to a good start with the right message at the right time. Go, Hillary, go. That's my parting shot for today, folks. Have a great one. Come back and see us again tomorrow. We'll be looking for you.
Show.